Don't give up, but keep on pressing toward the mark. But here's my problem that I had with Paul. Because I had a major problem when I was reading and I was studying this text. I had a problem with Paul while studying this because my problem was that he was in prison as a result of him preaching Christ. But in verse 17, he wanted them to be imitators of him. He wanted them to follow his example. You mean to tell me that you want me to remain connected to Jesus, even if it means that I will have to do some prison time? Yes. Okay, Paul, you got to help me understand this. And Paul says, you can't allow your present circumstances to distract you from your promise. You cannot allow your present circumstances to distract you from your promise. Paul presents present circumstance didn't stop him from wanting to be where God was. It didn't change his perspective of who Christ was. As a matter of fact, it didn't even change his mindset of what God was able to do. Too many of us allow distractions to prevent us from reaching our promises. We let the distraction of doubt to keep us from achieving. We allow the fact that no one understands us from applying the word to our lives. We allow what the present world is doing to better themselves to prevent us from going after Christ wholeheartedly. We allow the world to influence our way of thinking about life in general. Therefore, we always end up not moving forward. My friends, when you begin to pursue the promises of God, you have to minimize the distractions. You can't allow what others are doing to prevent you from reaching your destiny. You can't allow what's not happening to you to be a deterrence for where God wants to take you, or a deterrence for you not to trust God. The people of Philippi had some folk who were trying to convince them to only achieve their worldly possessions and not what had eternal value connected to it. Paul makes it very clear that because they weren't focused on what God valued, they have lost their sense of being. They have become more focused on what was not important rather than what was. If Noah would have focused on everyone else not getting in the boat, he would have missed out on the promise of being kept alive. If you look at the life of Joseph, if Joseph had allowed himself to want to get back to his brothers, he would not have been in position to be able to bless his family. If you even look at Esther, if Esther had said, you know what, I'm just going to die right where I am, she would not have been able to meet Boaz. If you even look at David, if David decided within himself, you know what, I'm going to take Saul out, he would not have been in position to be king of Israel. As a matter of fact, if you look at the Hebrew boys, if they decided, you know what, we're going to eat this food of this king and we're going to do what everybody else is doing, they would not have been able to sit at the table with the king and be able to be recognized as God's hand upon their very lives. If Daniel said, you know what, I'm not going to pray to God. Yes, God, if I'm not going to bow down to God, I'm going to bow down to King Nebuchadnezzar's king. God, I'm going to bow down to him. If Daniel would not have decided to do that and then end up in a lion's den, he would not have been able to rest on the lion. Oh, God. Yes, God, I just saw something. Maybe somebody misunderstanding me. Maybe you don't know what it means to not allow things to keep you from reaching your very purpose. Well, come here, Jesus. Help me understand something. Even before you were born, they were trying to kill you. They were trying to destroy you. They were trying to wipe you out. But yet you still kept pressing through the birth canal. Yes, God. Even when they tried to leave you around, they left you in the temple, and your parents turn around and say, where is Jesus? And they had to turn back and go get you and ask you, why did you leave me? Jesus said, I had to be about my Father's business. Oh, come on, Jesus. You got to continue to talk to us, because there are some people who were all around you and they were trying to figure out who you were. And all you said is, I am the tree of the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through me. Come here, Jesus, help me understand. You had some friends who walked with you. You had some friends that you talked to on a daily basis, turn their backs on you, and yet you still kept pressing toward the mark. You kept saying to yourself, nevertheless, not my will, but thine will be done. Come here, Jesus, help me understand. The same people who you healed, the same people who you picked up, the same people who you touched, the same people who you teach to, yes, God, the same people who you preached to, yet they did not know who you really was, yet you kept saying, nevertheless, not my will, but thine will be done. And I can see you even praying to the Father, Father, if it be your will, let this cup. Oh, yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, God. Let this cup pass me by. I don't want a taste of this, but nevertheless, not my will, but thine will be done. Oh, wait a minute. I just saw something. There you was, Jesus, even as you were carrying your own cross. People were still mocking and spitting and beating you, yet you still pressed toward the mark. You pressed towards your goal. You did, yes, God, you pressed towards your destiny. Yes, you kept going despite everything, despite them throwing their best shot at you. Yeah, God, I just saw something else. There he was as they laid him on this rugged cross. I mean, even when he let his hands open, the same hands that healed them, the same hands that hugged him, the same hands that picked him up, he allowed them to drive the nail through his hand. But this is what gets to me. Even though he was pressing toward the mark, even though he stayed in the race, he had the audacity to let them take his feet and drive some nails through his feet. I don't know about you, but I'm so glad that he kept toward the promise. I'm so glad that he stayed focused. He didn't allow what others were doing to him to keep him from getting to his destiny. That's all I come to let someone know, baby. You got to stay focused. You got to move past the hurt, move past the pain, move past the distress, move past the difficulties, move past the disappointments, and get to where God wants you to be. Come here, man. Yes, God. I just can't leave him on the cross. There he was. Yes, God. He died on the cross. But I heard him say, yes, God, that all power belongs to him. I heard him say, yes, God, that all power belongs to him. And yes, God, and he's seated, yes, God, right at the right hand of God the Father. There he was in position to where God wanted him to be. Say that alone. Look at your neighbor, say, it's time to focus now. You ain't got no more excuses. It's time to focus. It's time to focus. It's time to focus. It's time to possess what God has for you. I'm done. You can stand. Can I give you a quick testimony? For about a year, I found myself going through the motions. I lost focus. I was worried about what was going on, what was not going on. And one of the things that God spoke to me in this text is that despite where you are, I'm still right there. And since I'm still right there, I still got much more for you to do. You can't be bound to what happened yesterday. Because yesterday, yes, God, it's going to be your launching pad to where I got you on tomorrow. So you hold on. And I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know if you in this. I don't know what's going on in your life. But I've come to let you know It's focus time.
Yeah, you've got an opportunity.